Opening. Dramatic music swells as the narrator's voice echoes, as if emerging from an ancient void. Have you ever heard of a dream so vivid, so haunting, that it moves a man to challenge the status quo and alter the course of history? Strap yourselves in because, in this thrilling tale from Chronicles of Human History, we uncover the story of one enigmatic dream and a white horse that almost remade the world as we know it. Music fades into a more atmospheric background instrumental. The stage? Let's set it. Picture this. It's the mid-19th century on the sweeping plains of North America. The newly established Mormon community, led by the equally polarizing and commanding figure Brigham Young, lives with constant tension looming over them. Religious conflicts, mysterious mobs, and mounting suspicions keep their leaders awake at night. But amidst this backdrop of uncertainty stands a singular and curious figure, Joseph Smith, the founding prophet of the Latter-day Saint movement. His teachings already ripple far beyond America's borders. But what keeps his memory alive is a mesmerizing prophecy commonly associated with him. Enter the White Horse Prophecy, a dream that struck not just curiosity but deeply seated transformations. Cut to detailed illustrated imagery of Joseph Smith, seated in thought as a shadowy white horse fades into the skies overhead. Now here's the catch. Joseph Smith's so-called White Horse Prophecy wasn't written by him at all. It was recorded years later by one of his supporters, Edwin Rushton. And while historians dispute its authenticity, no one denies its sheer intrigue. According to legend, Joseph had a dream that the members of the Mormon Church, symbolized as a unique white horse, would one day rise to protect the Constitution of the United States as it teetered on the edge of ruin. This prophecy claimed that in a time of great moral crisis, when blood would flow down the streets like rivers, the Latter-day Saints would play a pivotal role in rescuing not just their faith, but America itself. Background sounds of murmuring crowds and distant hoofbeats intensify around the narration. Pause here and think. How could a seemingly obscure 19th century vision take root so deeply that even political critics grapple with its implications today? This wasn't just a passive belief, it guided actions, decisions, and even wars. But before we decode its mysticism further, let's trace the life of the man behind the prophecy. Joseph Smith, born into modest beginnings in upstate New York, was known as a charismatic leader and a polarizing firebrand. By his mid-20s, he claimed divine visitations, from angelic beings like Moroni to ancient patriarchs, and translated what he called the Book of Mormon. Yet it wasn't just scripture that defined his life. Joseph mesmerized followers with his apocalyptic visions. His dream of the white horse symbolized both hope and chaos, that divine intervention awaited fulfillment in times of turbulence. Do you sense the shocking parallels? America in the 19th century was teetering on turmoil. Debates over slavery, state balance, and economic uncertainty reached boiling points. Against this backdrop, Joseph's dream wasn't just religious theater. It carried undertones of rebellion or revolution. To some, he became both an inspiration and a threat. Imagine believing you, or your group, holds the key to the survival of a national dream. Pan to a dramatic battlefield illustration, cannons roaring while a ghostly white horse gallops silently among the chaos. Skip forward a few decades, and here's where the dream mixes surrealism with shocking reality. The White Horse Prophecy gained volatile interpretations among Mormon populations, particularly in the Utah Territory, where Brigham Young had taken church leadership after Smith's assassination. Under Young's guidance, the Mormon settlement became almost a kingdom within a republic, with principles challenging federal jurisdiction. The Latter-day Saints, interpreting Smith's prophecy almost as destiny, prepared themselves for warfare, literal or ideological, against corrupt politics. The U.S. federal government wasn't amused. Now, here was the twist. Allegedly, Some felt that Smith had predicted Mormonism's survival was tied to the nation's collapse. Imagine the implications. Thus, the Utah War, a deeply unnecessary, relatively bloodless standoff, erupted when President Buchanan sent troops to reassert federal control over Mormon Utah. It marked America's increasing struggle over faith versus governance. A shift to holding visuals, showing Brigham Young pondering decisions with desert backgrounds. Illustrations of armed Mormon militia side by side with pastoral, prayerful images. What's crucial here isn't just the physical conflicts, it's the cultural memory. To this day, messages of divine purpose and salvation echo in religious rhetoric across regions. The White Horse Prophecy, rightly or wrongly attributed to Joseph, proved that belief systems, even vague ones dressed in mystic metaphors, have power to pull at the threads of nations. Let's dive deeper into some controversies. Later leaders of the church, including the well-tempered Joseph F. Smith in the early 20th century, aggressively distanced the Latter-day Saints from parts of the White Horse blueprint. Why? It had become a double-edged sword. For some, the prophecy was biblical comfort. For others, like Edwin Rushton himself, remember the man who documented the dream? It was clearer than scripture, a declaration that rising above national collapse was divine right. Later revisionists, however, splintered perspectives. Was this prophecy meant only metaphorically, predicting religious salvation from spiritual disarray? Or did it carry hidden warnings about political uprisings unforeseen? Historians still debate it vigorously, and here we are today, a complex web of faith memory, cultural disputes, and what-ifs. Here's a nugget for thought. Ask yourself, how much of modern fervor across political movements stems from unverified legends stretched out of heated imaginations? How would individuals preserve collective peace without implicit saviors on horses amidst extreme moments? Illustrations transition to more modern political demonstrations, with symbolic figures riders less amidst banners. While officially the White Horse Prophecy remains controversial and lightly discredited by some contemporary LDS scholars. Charges dismissed, the seeds left remain timeless imagery whose half-altered implications or symbols continue feeding partial topics written. Hopes unfolds fragile visions upon books extending powerful centuries, reminders, beliefs stored infamously elsewhere. Ensure the expanded voiceover is even more entertaining, but that it maintains the same style, tone, and key points as the original.